today we will talk about the random trivia generator. So that's the part 2. I've made some change on that, and I will share that with you guys. But before that, we will also talk about how to use basic authentication with the integration API block. So that's something that came from one of our users, and but at the same time, this is something that is don't stop coming from all of you guys. So I want to share that with you. We will use the Simply Read API for that. That's a good example. And right after that, we will dive in the random trivia generator. So I can share with you like the update I've added to the project. So let's start by sharing my screen right there. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep.
Cool, thanks. And yeah, let's maybe get rid of the video to be sure that we don't have any lagging issue here. All right, sorry about that. Never mind, okay. So the first thing I want to share with you is, yeah, sometimes you will be, you will have to deal with this kind of API, and where basically in the documentation, you will have to use a basic authentication. So what that means is basically you will have to, instead of using a token, for example, so this is something that is largely used by most of the API today, but sometimes you have to also deal with kind of old school way to do it. And that's one of the ways for this typical API. So basic authentication means that you will have to encode the login and the password in a way that will be able to share that information within the API integration block. And that's what you will share. Instead of the token, you will share that information to make the call. A good example here is, again, using this, so the name is Simply Read. I'm basically using what the user was using to when he asked me for that. But again, if you do remember, we had a session regarding the Fitbit API. That's pretty much the same. You will have to create an app, and this app will give you the API key as well as the API secret, and that's what you will have to use. That's the demo one. You may have to create another one and use your own API key and secrets, but for this example, we'll use both of this information. And again, most of the time it's written in the documentation. Here again, we can see that we need basic authentication. That's the kind of website you can use to do that. Basically, you are using the username, the password, and you are adding like 2 dots in between password. That's what it will look like before encrypting that. Yeah, we do an encoding on that, and then you will end with this kind of random string value. So again, for this example, we need API key will be the username, Simply Read, and the API secret, that's the same, but can be password or whatever you want to use here. And to do that, this website is bleeder.se. You have a lot of websites that can do that. Basically, you just have to Google basic authentication generator for example. And you will end with this kind of information. And that's what we want to use in our API integration block. So if we go to the random trivia generator, we will use that project, and we will add the API block. So yeah, that's a new trick, by the way. You can use the Shift space key to have the spotlight. So you can use that to type API, and that will give you the API block. No more drag and drop. If you want to use a shortcut, that's a good way to do that. So yeah, that's what the custom API block looks like. You need to choose what kind of request you are going to do. That's a get, post, delete, or patch. Go to the doc. See here, that's a get. So we want to do a get to this URL, and point will be properties. So API, that's simply REST. So let's copy that from here, go back to our project. That's HTTPS because we want secure URL. And go back to the doc to be sure, copy paste the endpoint. That's property. All right. Now we know that we need a basic authentication. And for that, we need the authorization header. That's what we are setting right there. And the value will be that basic followed by the encoded username and password. So let's put that right there. Okay, we'll give that a try, sending. And hopefully, yes, it's working. So we are using the trial version of that, but obviously we got a response from the API call, so it works. That's the first part of the question I had from that user. And again, thanks for asking. That's allowed us to show you how to do the stuff during the fix-it hours. And we love that. We love helping you on this kind of stuff. So let's go back to the documentation. Oh, okay, what do we have here? We can do a lot of stuff, and we can use a lot of parameters here, like status, a queue for a query, a type, a subtype, agent, cell agent, and stuff like that. For this example, and that's what the user asked me, so we are using the queue for the query and the city. But you don't have to use precisely say what you are looking for. Just use the queue word, the queue param, and you can put whatever you want here as soon as it's postal code, city, area, street name, and stuff like that. So let's go to do that. That's a param. So we will update the param here. We need the queue param for query, and we will look for all property available in Houston. Test request. Looks like we have a lot of property in Houston, and yeah, so far so good. As we can see in the first result, so we have a lot of result here, but we can see that actually we are targeting Houston property. So that's works, and yeah, that's everything I want to cover regarding this kind of API you might face sometimes when you see. So just remember that when you see that you need to use basic authentication, that's basically using the username and the password, mixing that to make it simple, and you will handle with this kind of information. So it's not a token, it's not a barrier token, it's a basic followed by the username, password, all encoded, and that will allow you to talk to the API. All right. Let me check if he already have some question regarding this part. View. Okay. Cool. That's cool. Good to go. Let's remove that. So let's dive in now in the random trivia generator. First, how can I go back to the home block? Simply use the shortcut H on your keyboard. Here we go, back to the home block. So what I've done here is, firstly, I don't know if you remember, but I will try to talk about what we used to have and what I've done, what I've updated in this project. So basically, we were using, that's a trivia. Sorry, let's refresh our memory here. So that's something that will be used, the random trivia generator. And this trivia will basically show to the user multiple questions from So I don't know where the things break, but basically I was talking about the previous version of the project where we left it. So we are using the random trivia generator to do that. And we have some different categories here: science, arts, geography, entertainment, general history. And in the first version, we basically we were grabbing all the randomly, like a question randomly. We don't take care of any categories. And what I think it's will be a good thing to do is ask the user which category they want to use, and also turn that in kind of a challenge game. That's summer. That's a good time to play games, maybe on families and stuff like that. So what I'm thinking of is basically allow the user to answer any question unless they get it wrong. So the goal here is to answer a maximum of answer correctly, of course, the maximum of question that the API will give us, and we will increment the score. And so that's something I've added to the skill. Another one is the onboarding flow that you can see here. So that will be the first time the user will launch the skill. But instead of checking the session, we will simply check for the onboarding variable, because the user can launch the skill twice, 3 times, but didn't finish the onboarding. Like, okay, not right now. They just say stop, and they will exit the onboarding flow in the middle. So to be sure that they actually made it to the end, we want to be sure that we are setting the onboarding variable equal 1 at the very end of the onboarding flow. And that's a way to check that the user already see all the block we have here. And yeah, because it's an onboarding, we are going to explain what's the goal of this skill is. And also we will ask the user to choose on which category they want to be challenged. And for that, we are using a simple, and again, it's the aim key on your keyboard to access the model view. And the intent category is right now is using the category slot. So we want to check that. Go back to the slot tab and check the category. So we have arts, science, entertainment, and we are using synonyms here. So if the user say TV, movie, or cinema, for example, the slot value will be equal to entertainment. History, general, geography, and mix. Mix is kind of a custom one. So if the user they didn't want to choose, we will do that for them. So that's why we also have the choose from me or random synonyms. So if the user says choose from me, the value, the slot value will be equal to mix, and we will handle that with an if block. So if mix, then do the random stuff. So that's it for the first part of the onboarding. And that's exactly what I was talking about with the if block. If the categories, and as you remember, the category is the slot value. If category equal to mix, then we are not going to specify a category, but we will use all the category. Otherwise, we are going to use the category that the user just choose. And for that, we are using the value and as a confirmation, like science sounds like a good choice. And then we will just validate that the user just onboarded within the skill. So that's for the onboarding part. Again, if it's not, if it's mixed, we will say, I see you like challenges. Mix it is. Same here. If it's not within any U-turns we have, or it's not matching any slots, we will force that as a random or a mix choice. So again, go back to the home flow. And from that, we will then go to the main part of the skill. So it's grabbing the question. So let's dive in this flow. That's the change I've added to the skill. So here we have this if block, which will check what category the user choose. So if it's mix, arts, science, entertainment, etc., you got it. We will set the corresponding variable, and those variable will be used in the API call. Just make it clear here. So that's the post to the API, and in the body, because we are sending a JSON file here, that's why the content type here is set to application JSON. So we are sending a JSON to the API with all the information the API needs to send us back the first question. And for that, we are using variable. And we are doing that because as we let the user choose which category they want to use, we want to be sure that the returning question corresponds to the category. So that's why we are using this kind of block, mix setup block, that's the art setup block, science, etc. So here, for example, we are setting the hearts variable to 1. Sorry, that's the heart setup. The hearts variable to 1, but the other equals 0, which is not the case for the mix setup, because mix should pick and choose a question from any of the categories. So that's why all the categories, all the variable are equal to 1. Another example, science. Science, okay, only science variable is equal to 1. All other variable equals 0 because we only want science. And that will be translated in our custom API block and in the JSON body right there. So let's say heart equal 1, we will only have question regarding heart. If the user chooses a mix or a random, all those variable will be equal to 1. So we'll let the API choose a question for us from all the categories. And that's it. That's all what we need. And that's all I've added to this part of the flow from this part 2 of the project. So after that, so okay, we got the question. We mapped that to the trivia question, and we mapped the answer to the trivia answer. Just for you to remember, let's say we want a random question. Let's put a 1 everywhere here. So again, if we want only science, put 0, 0, 0, 0, and 1 for science. But if we send the request here, we will have a random question choose between all the categories. And that's the question here. Which scientist wrote the book A Brief History of Time? And that's the answer, Stephen Hawking. So what we are grabbing from that is the question and the answer. And we will try to grab the answer from the user and do a comparison with the correct one. And if it's match, if we got a match, we will increment the score for the user. If it's not, or if the answer is not correct, we will hand the skill, because again, that's more a challenge skill, kind of skill. So you want to answer correctly maximum of question in a row to beat a record. Okay, so that's it for this flow, sorry. And then after that, this one is part of the first version of the project where we were debugging everything. I can keep that for now. We are basically setting all the variable to 0 here, because if it's not clear, I will go back to the answer intent. Just so again, we do a kind of a quick refresh here. But as you for those that were following the project for the first part, we were trying, it's kind of experimental stuff here, but we want to use that in a natural way. So we don't want to use the search block only, the search query, slot type only, because the search query slot type needs a context or a carrier phrase. So if you want to use the search query, you need this, like the or ho or my answer is, and then the search query, which is great because basically you are telling Alexa that she need whatever will start with oh it's, oh yes it's, or oh yes, she needs to map that to the user answer, which is the slot query. And the slot query, we basically grab the raw utterance from the user. That's fine, but that's not, it doesn't seem natural in the convo, because you don't want the user to, or you don't want that saying my answer is, and then the answer doesn't, it makes no sense to make that mandatory for the user. We don't want the user to have to say that exact carrier or phrase to trigger the corresponding intent. So what we've done to try to hack that a bit is by using multiple slots. But we are using those multiple slots in the same intent. So the user can say Stephen Hawking. So that can be grabbed by movies, for example, not by musician, obviously, but that's going to be maybe also artist. Or if the user say, oh, it's Stephen Hawking, that will go straight to the search query slot. So basically, we are trying to hack this thing that in a way that whatever the user will say, we want to grab that answer. And then we will deal with that to check if it's matched the corresponding answer. So again, that's the different slot we are using. So the search query, we already talked about that. That's the artist, so user answer artist. Let's say if the question is regarding, I don't know, Michael Jackson, or maybe musician will be the best for that, but you get the point. If we are talking, if the answer is more targeting a movie answer or a movie title, most likely the answer will be grabbed by this slot. So we are trying to open a maximum and using a maximum slot here to grab the user answer. So that's why we also have actor, even we have the user book, which is the book slot type. So that's from the part one. We've already done that, but that's also why you will see some debug stuff in the skill. So again, we went from the API call. We have a question, we have an answer. So we want from that, we use that question and we speak the question to the user. That's trivia question. We are just using the answer here for us for debugging purpose only. So we know what to answer. But yeah, basically we are cheating a bit here. But yeah, we'll get rid of that after. But for the testing purpose only, we will keep the question and the answer we should answer, the correct answer. So after that, we are grabbing the user answer. The only thing we do here is also allow the user to say, I don't know. So that's the no reply intent. And this one, don't use any slot, or it's iterance only and not a clue. Don't know that. I don't have I don't have the answer, etc. I don't know, I'll pass. And after that, if the user did answer, we are going to the check answer flow. And this one, that's the tricky one, because we are using some code block here. I know that we should do beginner stuff most of the time, but this one, because of the way we made the part one of this, we need to use some code. But that's something you will have to do anyway. So if you want to do this kind of skill, like quiz and stuff like that, and you want to be able to catch the user answer instead of just, okay, the answer is A, something, B, another thing, and C, another thing. But maybe it's not something you want to do in your project, and instead just grab the answer and deal with that. So that's a good way for you to try to understand some code. But yeah, we will go quickly on that. Just not too afraid some of our user here, but basically here, this block will take care of do the matching between the user answer and what we get from the API. So Stephen Hopkins and Stephen Hopkins, for example, just be sure that what the user say is exactly what the API answer is. And from that, we will set a variable valid to 1 if it's correct, or 0 if it's not. And again, we are using an if block for that. If it's equal to 1, okay, congratulations. If not, yeah, that's wrong. And after this check flow, so as you can see, we've tried to split the skill in multiple flow. So that's the onboarding flow. The user should go through this one only once. And then after that, if the onboarding is not equal to 0, which should be the case if they went through the onboarding flow at least once, we will allow the user to change the category. But sorry, I'm losing myself. Let's keep on this path here. So valid equal 1, what we can do here to add some randomness in our convo. So let's say we can just check what the score is. So if the score is less than 5, well, that's not bad. I mean, that's not amazing, but that's cool. That's already cool to be able to answer 5 questions correctly in a row. So great, looks like you know some answer here. Continue like that to beat the record. And then here's the next question. And we go back to another question until we have a valid equals 0, which is a non-correct answer. And then same thing here. We are checking if score is equal to 0, sorry, we shouldn't use that because obviously this will not work, and that's why it's interesting to do that with you guys. So if score is more than 0, score answer is wrong, you'll need some practice. Okay, so what we want to do here is maybe instead we can do that, for example, less than 5. And we surely should add maybe equals 0 because yeah, 0 will be in there. So let's do that. Actually, yes, let's do that. So if score variable equals 0, then go there. The good thing with the if block is that they are checking the condition in the order you've put them. So you can reorder that, of course. And because here we are putting that first, so actually we should do maybe that. So if it equals 0, because the condition will be again checking that order. So if it's equals 0, do this. If it's not equal 0 but less than 5, do that. And if it's more than 4, do the other thing. And so again, we have three kind of variation here. So if the user fail on the first question, we will have this kind of stuff like, come on, not even the first one. Okay, maybe you want to practice a bit more. Add me as a routine in your Alexa app, and we're gonna make you a genius. So that's the kind of conversation you want to add, or like the funny stuff you want to add just to encourage the user to do that again. The good thing with that is obviously you can use multiple variation for that. Let's say, well, right now I will use the same one, but you can randomize output. So here, the skill will randomly choose between these two prompt or these two dialogue, and yeah, you can add another one. So it makes no sense to copy paste the same thing as I'm doing right now. You will have obviously to change some stuff, but during the execution of the skill, at least the user will have some, not always the same message here. So that's something you should keep in mind, adding some like randomness to the dialogue. Same thing here. It's less than 5, so not bad, but I mean, you are not going to beat her record here. So we are using the score value. So let's say, for example, 4 answers in a row. You'll still need some practice, but hey, that's how we learn. So again, you can add some variation, use the randomize output, and yeah, that way you can encourage the user a different way, and yeah, they will not that will not hear the same message again and again. So that's a good way to add some variation to your skill. And the last one is let's say 6 or 10 answers. Seriously, that's not bad at all. You can become a master. So yeah, again, it's just like adding some differentiation, or I don't know how to say that, but some variation in the dialogue. So just like the user will feel that, okay, you know that I'm doing great, and the conversation will have another, yeah, it will sound like different because you've made a lot of progress or not, or because you have a higher score than before, for example. So that's very interesting for the users. So that's the fail part, and the correct or the winning part when the user actually did answer correctly. We do pretty much the same here. If it's less than 5 or less than 10, and again, not a big deal here because the order take the lead here. So again, if it's less than 5, we will go there. Great, looks like some answer here, and we will continue and grab another question. And for less than 10, which is great, you're a rock star. You know everything, or you are Googling the answer. But same thing here. If you want, you can add some random outputs, and you should do that just because that's the kind of skill that the user will use a lot, and you want the user to use a lot, and because there are tons of different questions, so you don't have to worry about are they going to have the same question again and again, because it will not be the case, or very rarely. So do the same in the convo, basically. Add a lot of variation to the answer you will give to the user, just to encourage them to stay in the contest, or keep challenging themselves with some question. So again, if we're good, if the answer is correct, just grab another one and do the same stuff again. So yeah, if that's now that you've seen all the stuff here, that should make sense for you, that we need to add some variation each time. Otherwise, you will have the same pass and the same combo again and again and again, and it's not great. It's not a great experience. Okay, that's quite it. Maybe we should test that right now. The other thing we may want to add is the translation part. So I already have a flow for that, but yeah, let's do a quick test right now. Can get rid of those. Let's use the invocation.
Welcome to Random Trivia Generator. Your last category was science. Do you want to try another trivia with this category, or change for another one?
So I've already tested it, so that's why we are already onboarded, but we want to get rid of that and start from scratch. A simple way to do that, let's stop the skill.
We're going to go for a mix then. The water moccasin snake is also known as what?
Yep,
Let's
stop it definitely, but you can go here.
Stop / cottonmouth, come on.
Sorry, let's just refresh, so it will kill the skill. To disable any data or any information saved or linked to the user account, you just have to switch right there from development to off. So you do that once, go back here, and all the variable linked to the user account, or actually my account, because I'm testing the skill under my dev account, will be wiped out, and I can start from the beginning, so from as a new user. So let's do that.
Welcome to Random Trivia Generator. In this game, you're going to have to answer as many questions as you can without getting it wrong. You will be able to choose your favorite category, or let me choose questions from different categories randomly. Let's start a game right now. Which categories do you want to choose from? Science, entertainment, history, general, and geography. You can also choose to play with a mix of all categories to add challenge. So, what's it going to be?
So this first part, again, we are within the onboarding flow. and we are checking. Okay, let's go for science. Science. I want.
Science sounds like a good choice. The Latin prefix pulma refers to what organ of the human body? / lung.
So that's the answer. So, okay, we get that the user did choose science as a category. So science sounds like a good choice. And then we are basically speak the question we got from the API. So the Latin prefix pulmo refer to what organ of the human body. And as we are using the debug here, like this big block, we also have the answer. That's for the test purpose. So lung.
Science sounds like a good
And as
choice.
you can see
The
here,
Latin prefix pulma refers to what organ of
instead
the
of
human body?
grabbing lung,
/ lung.
it's like repeating the previous dialogue, which means that none of the intent grab this information. So in that case, that will mean that basically we will have to add more slots to catch that one. So for this example, we'll use its lung because we know that we are using a carrier phrase right there, the its, and we know that this one will go to the search query.
Congratulations. Lung / lung great. Looks like you know some answers here. Continue like that to beat the record. Here is the next question. What is an inhinga / a bird?
So we got the congratulations message. This is the debug message, like the user answer, what's we grab, so the user utterance, and that's the API answer. So you can see that apart from this uppercase here, the answer is the same. But as you can see, we actually are handling this difference here because without any work, this will not match. If we simply use a if block and do a if this variable equal this one, this will be wrong simply because of the uppercase here. So it's not the case here, and we will go deeper on that because that's in the code block. That's where we are basically handling that. But you can see that this is already handled by the logic of our project. Then we have the congratulations again. Great, looks like you know some answer here. Continue like that, and we do have the loop. So this is where we should have the random the random question or the random response. Sorry, random output, and then we are simply saying back a new question from the get question flow. So what is an inga? So that's a bird.
No. That's a bird / a bird. One answers in a row. You still need some practice, but hey, that's how we learn.
So what we found here is even it should grab that, what we have is the answer that has been catch is, and that's why we are using debug here at this stage of the project. The answer, the user returns is that's a bird. And that's a bird compared to a bird is not a match. It's yeah, basically that is doing the conflict, or that is conflicting right there. If we have answered that with only a bird, it will pass the test. So for that, yeah, I mean, it's simple. We just need to add that to the search query, for example, the intent. Sorry. So that's the in the answer intent. Sorry. In the utterance, you can see that we have the answer is I'm thinking of, I think it's, but we don't have that's. So easy, just have that's, and then user answer, and here you go. And that's exactly why we are using. And during that, let's that's exactly why I keep the debug message in there during all the testing, just to be sure of actually what utterance or what intent grab that, and even more deeper, what slot grab the answer. And if you do remember, on the part 1 of the project, we even have the this big block, debug block. So I'm importing the skill. So now we will have all the information, and we will know in which slot the answer has been cached. So the user utterance has been cached. Just to be sure what slot need to be polished, or if we need to add some utterance, what utterance we should add. And yeah, again, that's a good way to debug a project. Let's do that again. So that's the end of the game. Let's do that again. Sorry, up. No.
Welcome to Random Trivia Generator.
Yeah, it's good.
Your last category was science. Do you want to try another trivia with this category or change for another one?
So we already know that, the skill know that, so we are, oh, okay, hopefully that will, okay. The skill already know that, so we got the welcome to Random Trivia Generator. Your last category was science. And we have the choice to change that category or stick to that one. So, okay. Yes, we have.
Welcome to Random Trivia
So,
Generator.
for example,
Your
here.
last category was science. Do you want to try another trivia with this category or change for another one?
That's the category flow. Let's remove that. So here, as an answer, we have, so the user can choose and say, for example, hearts, or change for general, or I want science. But they can also say yes, and that will continue to the corresponding with the corresponding categories. And we also have another intent, which will basically allow the user to change the category, or the same intent, which is, yeah, keep this one, keep that one, same categories. So keep that one.
Okay, let's continue with science then. What is glass mainly made up of? / sand.
So let's test the new utterance we've just added. That's sand.
User, sand. Artist, 0. Musician, 0. Movie, 0. TV, 0. Actor, 0. Congratulations. Sand / sand. Great. Looks like you know some answers here. Continue like that to beat the record. Here is the next question. What type of dog is known as the king of the terriers? / Airedale.
So here, as we uploaded the new version, we have the debug with all the block we have in the that's the check answer flow. So let's go back right there. So we have this debug block, and it's interesting because right now we know, I mean, we already know that because we've tested it and we've added the utterance, but yeah, that's confirming that the send value, so the user utterance, has been mapped to the user slot, which is the search query, instead of the artist slot type, musician, movie, and stuff like that. So that, again, that's a good way to debug the project and see where what slot is populated with the user returns. So that's congratulations. That's the correct answer, because yeah, we've just had that, and it's now handled by the skill, and that will be most of the work you will have to do. Like doing more and more tests, maybe also enabling that for beta users. So you will, so some user friends can join the test during the beta, and you will have some feedback. They will say, oh, I said that and it was not working. You can also use the Alexa Analytics to see what utterance was the most used, or the one you missed, and that's a good way to be able to go to the distribution tab. You will have to fill some information, otherwise you will not be able to activate or enable the beta for the skill. And you will also need some icon here, and yeah, a category. So party game, quiz game. That's a quiz game. You don't need keywords. No, I don't think so. So just save. So again, categories, description, and icon. Otherwise, you will not be able to pass that to the beta, or to enable the beta. Save and continue here. And now you can see that on this page, you have this rectangle here, beta test. If you click on there, you will have a quick check from Alexa. And basically, it will check that we do set a description, have icons, and choose a category. Here you will put your email address. That's yours, and then you will be able to invite some friends, some user you want them to be able to test your skill. And from that, you will they will receive an email. So you just have, you can enable that. So let's, for example, let's copy paste that. I'm adding my own email, and here that's the user email you want to add. You can add to up to 500 user, so that's a lot you can add. And then you enable beta testing. And doing this, you will generate a link, but also Alexa or Amazon will send an email to the users, so they can click on the link, and it will enable the skill. I mean, that will redirect the user to the Alexa store, and they will be able to enable the skill. Let's just, okay, yeah. And you can see now, your beta test is active, and you can copy and edit the URL, or end the test, or add any other user you want. Yeah, that's it. That's a simple way to enable the beta here. Save and continue. All right. So that's main of the skill here. So that's the I will say that's the more easy part, and that's fine that we are almost at the end of the session. So I will not afraid most of the user, but we can now have a look at the code block. So this is something we already seen on the previous parts. We are using a simple function that will do a similarity. Basically, it's comparing if the users say a bottle instead of just bottle, that's will I mean that will match the answer. So this is I mean this is something you don't even have to think about. This is more you should see that more as a component that you will copy and paste in your skill. But right now that's the only way, or at least the easiest way to do that. So for those that interested in that, the only thing I've added is because previously we don't have the user book slot. I've added that to the JavaScript code. This is something we've seen before, as we are using a lot of different slots right there. So in the answer, we have the user answer, the user book, the user answer actor, TV series, movies, musician, artist. We want to go through all those slots after the user as the user have answered the question, and basically check which slot has been populated, and that's what this code will do. It will go through all the different slots and check for the one that didn't have any 0 in there, because as we are reediting the slot value before going to the check answer flow right there, before each question we are resetting all the value here. So all the slot value will be equal 0. The only one that will be not equal to 0 will be the one that has been used to has been populated by the user utterance, so the user answer. So let's say again in this example, so let's do the test. In the test example, that was like a bird. Bird has been catched by the user answer because we use the carrier phrase that's a bird. So a bird is now the value for user answer, but all the other slot will be equal to 0. And that's exactly what we are checking in this code block. And that's something you can do with an if block, but that will be a lot of work to do that. So that's why here I'm kind of taking a shortcut and use the code block. But that's something we can talk again, or maybe more deeply in another session. But yeah, just for you to know what this code block basically is doing is checking, going through all the slots, grabbing the one that where we have the user utterance, the user value, and then from that use the similarity function to check if the trivia answer, which is what we got from the API call, is corresponding to the user answer. And we do that using lowercase. So we're sure that we don't have any uppercase, lowercase issue during the comparison. If it's the case, then we are adding a score and we set valid to 1 because that's the correct answer. We also have an if here that if the trivia answer includes a word that is within the user answer, then that will also valid. So for example, I can do that. I've seen that during the test, and again, that's why it's very important to test that. During the test, some of the answer will be, okay, what is the name of, I don't know, who made the Eiffel Tower, for example. And the answer is Gustave Eiffel made the Eiffel Tower. And the way we are handling the answer, that can be incorrect answer. Even if the user said Eiffel Tower, which is a correct answer, but because the user didn't say Eiffel Tower made, Gustave Eiffel made the Eiffel Tower, then this will be incorrect. And to avoid that, we are using this. So basically, if Eiffel Tower is part of the user answer and it's also in the trivia answer, that will be a match. That will be valid. So if, for example, if Gustave Eiffel made the Eiffel Tower, we have Gustave Eiffel in there in that string, and the user said only Gustave Eiffel. We have Gustave Eiffel also in the user answer. So that will be a match, and we will give a point to the user, because we don't want to say to the user, no, Gustave Eiffel is not the correct answer. The correct answer was Gustave Eiffel made the Eiffel Tower. That makes no sense. And that's pretty much what the this custom code block is doing. Sorry, a bit late on that one, so we take more time as expected, but yeah, it's something interesting. I think I will do another one if you're interested. I will share that project with you guys so you can have a look. Again, do not hesitate if you have any question on that. I will do a quick overview of the question in the chat. Okay, I think that Emily did already answer some question regarding the beta. That's cool. Okay, nothing regarding the project, so that's fine. We can end here. And as Emily was saying, next week we will not have any fixed hours. I will get some rest, thinking of you guys, and next project we can do all together. But in the meantime, enjoy, and yeah, talk to you soon.
Thanks so much, guys. Bye.